Hey everyone, welcome to the show. So it is the end of days. Yeah, it's the end of the world as we know it. it has to be. You know how I know that? Because when Ben Shapiro and freaking Ann Coulter start making sense, the world is coming to an end. Something is afoot. So I'm going to tell you guys about that in a second. I also wanted to share more of the fallout from the tariffs, why it's becoming painfully obvious Trump is playing his supporters again, and he's lying about the purpose of these tariffs. So, first, I don't know if you guys saw this, but Ben Shapiro went off on his show and he trashed Donald Trump over the tariffs. And he referred to this move as probably unconstitutional. So, check out this video.
His giant tariff policy that he just dropped on the market unilaterally, probably unconstitutionally. One of the biggest tax increases on American consumers in the history of America. And it's going to cost American consumers. It will cost American producers who use inputs from other countries. The Dow Jones Industrial Average plummeted immediately more than 1,000 points. The S&P 500 plummeted more than 3%. The NASDAQ plummeted almost 4.5%. There are real world implications for this sort of stuff. Trade wars are in fact not good and not easy to win, particularly if you don't actually have a plan. It is predicated on a bad idea of how international trade works.
So, as you all heard, even Ben Shapiro admits this is a bad idea based on a very flawed understanding of international trade. And by the way, if the Shapiro clip didn't just play in this video, just know it's because it's copyrighted material and I had to remove it when I loaded this video in the end. Don't know at this point whether that's going to happen or not, but we'll see. In any case, he is right. Never thought I'd say that about Ben Shapiro, but it's that whole broken clock twice a day thing. And Trump and his administration sound like they have absolutely no clue what they're doing or why they're doing it. On one hand, Trump is saying, oh, I'm not going to reverse this policy. I'm not reversing these tariffs because I want to bring manufacturing and production back to the US. I want to create jobs. I want made in America products. Okay, makes sense if you couple that policy with government assistance and investment first, kind of like Biden was doing with the CHIPS Act and things like that, because factories take years to build. They take tons of money to fill the necessary equipment in those factories. Then you have to hire people, you have to train staff. His administration is doing none of that. They're not offering any kind of financial assistance, any kind of incentive to build this out. And Trump's Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, he just admitted for a second time, this isn't about creating jobs. It's about replacing cheap overseas labor with robots. Take a look at what he said just this last weekend.
Now, we're not going to have all factories come back. Like clothing manufacturing, that's tough to bring back. But what kind of manufacturing are you talking about returning here?
Well, you can't just give that away. See, what's going to happen is robotics are going to replace the cheap labor that we've seen all across the world.
So that is the second time in about 3 to 4 weeks that Lutnick has said on camera in an interview, robots will be performing these jobs. It will be automated, not American workers. So how is that helpful? I've heard people saying, oh, well, it will help, with other businesses in the surrounding area. How? I mean, you have to have income from a job to spend at those surrounding businesses. And then to make matters worse and more confusing, Trump is now saying, well, I'm open to negotiation on the tariffs, even though his staff told the press the tariffs were not a negotiating tactic. So which is it? Because if he really wanted to bring jobs back and manufacturing back to the US, then he wouldn't even consider negotiating on the tariffs. And then, or, at least things that we could build and make here, right? And then let's add another confusing element to the mix. On Friday, Trump shared a video on his failing social media site. It was created by somebody else, but he shared it to his audience, and it was about Trump's tariffs. So in this video, the person claims Trump is crashing the stock market on purpose, and they use some sort of Robin Hood jujitsu pretzel logic, saying like, oh, well, he's taking from the rich and giving it to the working class. Again, the most pretzel logic BS that I've ever heard, especially when you consider the fact it's the working class people who suffer the most through a recession. There's no other way to explain this. And when you consider that, Trump is saying, oh, well, I'm going to get rid of income tax, which is not going to happen. But he's saying, oh, I'm going to get rid of income tax. We're just going to rely on these tariffs to fund the government. Okay, well, when you look at the people at the bottom end of the income spectrum and the people at the top end, obviously the people at the bottom end spend more of their income on things that they need, right? So almost, 100% of their income is going out the door for food, for shelter, for, whatever they need, clothing, gas, for a car. They're spending a larger percentage of their income in the economy and on goods and services. So they're going to get hit with these tariffs on the majority of what they're spending, on the majority of their income, versus someone at the top end or even the middle class who are spending a much smaller share. So how is that good for the working class? Now you are giving an even bigger tax break, essentially, to the wealthiest people in the country. And it's just insane. And they are now, the people at the top end of the market are not the only ones who have money that is in the stock market, right? And the people at the lower end of the spectrum are not the ones who have cash sitting around, who are, oh, I'm just going to wait to buy the dip. I'm going to wait to buy stocks when they tank. And many working class retirees are living off of their IRAs. They're living off of their 401ks because Social Security is so low. It is a lifeline for some people, but it's very, very low. And that is all tanking thanks to Trump. I see so many people on Reddit, especially, going, oh, the libs are crying because the wealthy people, because the elites and Wall Street is losing money. No, we are upset because you are harming average Americans who worked their entire lives, 30, 40, 50 years, that they put money into a 401k or an IRA so that they could someday retire. And you are now taking that away from them. And recession seems almost inevitable at this point. JP Morgan has now increased their odds, their speculation on recession, to 60%. And Fortune news outlet wrote, quote, bank economists estimate Trump's tariff increase would cost U.S. households $700 billion, equivalent to the largest de facto tax hike levied since LBJ's Revenue Act of 1968 financed his war in Vietnam. This is a tax increase on the people who cannot afford it, the people who can afford it the least. So for all these people on the right who do not get it, wake the fuck up. This is a tax on you. This is a tax on all of us who are not wealthy. And also, Reuters reported that the Fed is getting 2008 type vibes due to several different financial factors. They're saying this is eerily similar to what happened in 2008. So some Republican lawmakers now are finally speaking out. Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson, he was on Fox News, and he said, quote, "The markets are down about 8% in just 2 days, and I'm getting all kinds of reactions from businesses, farmers in Wisconsin that are highly concerned about what's happening." Well, now the Trump administration and Republicans they have confirmed this, they are considering a bailout for the farmers. So here we go again. We have another Republican president who fucks up the economy, and then our tax dollars get to be used to bail out the people they've harmed, to fix what Donald Trump is breaking. I say, let Trump bail them out. Let him use his personal money to bail out the farmers, right? He's the so-called billionaire. And as the saying goes, you break it, you buy it. Let him do it. He's so flush with cash. This is complete and total bullshit. It's not like we're getting anything in return for this carnage that he's creating. His tax plan, just as in 2017, I mean, they're just trying to extend it. This is only going to help the wealthy. And you know how we know that this is an epic screw up? Because Trump's own Treasury Secretary is reportedly trying to pull the escape hatch. According to Wall Street insiders, Scott Bessent is looking for a way out of the Trump administration. He is looking to go get a job somewhere else. He is a mega rich creature of Wall Street, and he is not happy because his credibility as this, great financial guru, it is now being destroyed. So I guess, he must have missed the first administration. I guess he missed the whole everything Trump touches dies idea. Yeah, tried to tell you, you align with this guy, you're going to end up regretting it. Anyway, so there you go, guys. Once again, Republican president comes in, screws up the economy, and the average Americans, the working poor, the working class are the ones that are going to take it in the shorts and the ones that are going to pay for it long term and suffer the most from these idiotic moves. Unfreaking believable. I mean, how many times do we have to go through this before people understand when you elect a Republican, this is what happens? I say everybody thinks that the COVID pandemic destroyed Trump's presidency and tanked it. I say it saved him. I think that we were on track for him to do these exact type of things, to completely screw up, and that but for the pandemic coming in and somewhat saving him from his own mistakes, we would have experienced this already. We would have lived through it already. And then, but then he screwed up with the pandemic and caused how many more people to die that didn't have to die? Because he downplayed it, tried to say it was just like the flu. Oh, when it heats up outside, it's just going to magically vanish, Anyway, I will let you all know as soon as I hear more on the stock market and the economy at writ large. I will also have some focus group information for you by next week. So yeah, just like I keep saying, you elect a turd, you get a shit show. So all right. Thank you all so much for watching and listening. Please please share, and subscribe to the channel if you have not. It is free. Click on the link below. Doesn't cost you a dime. Really, really helps out with the YouTube algorithm. And if you can donate, really appreciate it. Love you all. Take care. Talk with you soon.